This is Scratch Your Own Itch, the one show that delivers the conversations that we're afraid to share, but need to. This show is all about creating a life worth living. I'm Logan Tyler Nelson, and I'm your host. So, you're going to hear conversations with creators and entrepreneurs talk about what they do, their current and past traumas, how they became who they are, and what they are truly curious about. This is the show where we talk about the things we think about a lot, but need to talk about more. Please take note that this show is not a substitute for actually creating a life worth living, because this show will stir your beliefs, make you question what it means to create a life worth living. So my promise to you is to always give you one question to answer for yourself today, to start turning your dreams into a reality. Hey ladies and gents, I have the one and only
Lynn Hart.
Lynn Hart, and she is got a following of 500,000 people on Instagram. And so we're gonna dive in not too deep, but pretty deep enough with this interview. And so first question I want to ask you is what's the overlining message or most valuable thing that you've gotten from your story so far?
I would say for me it's showing other people the confidence that I have and kind of exuding it into what I do. So I do a lot of modeling. What I do, a lot of people want to feel comfortable with, I would say, because it's more of on the sexy side of photos that I take, videos that I take. I do a lot of fitness stuff as well. So fitness and confidence, they kind of play hand in hand. I used to walk into the gym not confident at all. I'd get such anxiety going into gyms. I'd get anxiety I don't know, I'd always be thinking, how do I look? Do I look good? Blah, 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 blah. And then once I kind of embraced how I looked and how I felt about myself, I just kind of went with it. And modeling is a hard thing to say, oh yeah, that modeling made me feel good about myself, but it honestly did, because the more photos I take, the more confident and comfortable I got in front of the camera, the more I was like, oh, I look good, I feel good. And then I wanted to work out more and improve my body and blah, 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 blah. So then I learned more about fitness and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. So overall, though, taken from your experience, what do you feel like you're now an expertise at?
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm an expertise in a few fields, not to be braggy or anything, but I went to beauty school, so I have my esthetician license. So I know a lot about skincare, makeup, pretty much everything beauty. I did that for about 3 years after high school. And then I feel like I know a good amount about modeling, the modeling industry. I did acting for a while, so I feel like I know a good amount of acting industry too, the modeling acting world, the entertainment industry. And then obviously social media, I feel like, is one of my biggest expertise, because I've grown from 1,000 followers to 500,000 followers in the span of about a year and a half. And so I didn't see it for myself at first that I would be great at it, but once I learned all the tools that I needed along the way, I feel like now I can help anyone grow on social media.
Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. To me, I want to dive into a little bit deeper of after learning all this, what do you think is the number one hack to learning faster, to growing an Instagram follower? Because I feel like that's the area that a lot of people are like, oh, I want more influence on Instagram, because who doesn't? You can actually, as we spoke about earlier, make money
Yeah.
through Instagram only. I want to talk, do you think finding a mentor is important, or just kind of just being inquisitive? What's the most important part?
Definitely a mentor. What I tell everyone is say it doesn't matter what you do, if you're a speaker, if you're a comedian, if you're a model, whatever it is on social media, you have to look at the pages that you look at the most on Instagram. So if there's normally on your search page, it'll show the top people you look up all the time, and you look those people up because you're inspired by them, you love their page, and you have to think, why do I like their page so much? And then you start thinking, okay, because look at how their profile is bright, their bio is really nice and neat, or this attracts me to them, they post these cool videos. don't try to copy them like word for word or be just like them. You want to put yourself into it. But how I did it was I kind of looked at these girls that I wanted to be like, and I just kind of modeled my page sort of after them, but made it my own in a way. Like put my personality into it, and then put everything I'm about into that, because obviously everyone's different and unique, so everyone has their different things. But
did you ever feel like an imposter, like doing this, like once you got success, all of a sudden you felt like, this is not for me, like I cheated my way here, or did you feel like, no, I was using what worked? And
I feel like I earned it like 100%.
I love it. I
like busted my butt to get to where I am. Like literally it was like, so I started working 3 jobs. I was a makeup artist, so I worked at Sephora, and that was a part-time job. I worked at a med spa, that was a part-time job, and then I managed a boutique. So I had 3 part-time jobs. I was working 70 hours a week, Monday through Sunday, like literally nonstop. And it was insane. And then I wanted to get into modeling and do the social media thing, but when you work 7 days a week, you don't really have time to like produce content or even like check your feed for one. So I was a little nervous about how to do it. So I did get 2 days off a month. So I would take the 2 days a month that I got off, and I would shoot for hours and get so many different outfits. That way I was able to post like 3 or 4 times a week. And then once I was able to do that, I would take more days off, and then I would travel. Like I'd take a week off, I'd travel, I'd go meet other photographers, other people. Like I made it work for myself when I could have told myself, oh, this is impossible, like this is too much, like I work 3 jobs, this is stupid, like who would do this? I was like, no, I know what I want to do. Like I saw it for myself. Like I'm a big believer in like law of attraction, so I have a vision board and all that, and I literally put on my vision board 100K followers, and it came in 6 months when I thought it was going to come in like a year. So it was crazy.
Wow. Oh my God. First of all, like this is my first interview where I've actually taken like in live. Like you should see her face and how lit up I am right now because of her, and how like that's huge. I want to really get you right now, whoever's listening, listen closely. Listen really closely what she just said. She put it on a vision board. She manifested that. Listen even closer. If you feel like you're too busy, and straight up like you go, I got so many part-time jobs, or I'm running my own business, take 2 days or 3 days out of the month to just batch record and create a bunch of content, so you do have that content that can be fed over time. You know, in her case, she knew what she wanted, and that was to have influence in pictures and videos, so she batch recorded those pictures, batch recorded making videos in just 2 to 3 days. And even more so, if you're someone who's not just doing videos and photography, batch record any of your LinkedIn posts, your Instagram posts, your blogs, Twitter your blogs. Okay, and I got another question. This is kind of just like to the side sort of question, because I want to know you more as a person. Is what's your favorite quote and why?
Oh geez, I have so many. I feel like there's one that I've always had, in like since I was in high school, that I would put by my makeup, like where I get ready, so I'd see it every day. And it was really simple. It was just like, oh my darling, like it was like I said, oh my darling, what if I fall? And it said, what if I fall? And then it says, oh my darling, what if you fly?
Oh.
And so I've always had that and I even have that on my vision board now. So, because it's always like, you're always worried about the fear like takes over, and you're like, what's going to happen if I fail? Like you always think the worst before you think the best. And I feel like you need to reverse that. Like you automatically need to always think the best for yourself, because that's how you're going to retrieve it. Like you put it out there, it's going to happen. Might not happen tomorrow, might not happen. Like for me, I wanted 100,000 followers the next day I woke up when I posted a nice picture for the first time. But I was like, no, this is going to happen. Yeah, it's probably going to happen in the end of the year, but it's going to happen, it's going to come. And, you get discouraged because you go back to your normal job. You're like, I want to be a social media influencer. But then you go back to the normal job where no one really knows your name. No one knows that you have social media or what you do. No one wants to follow you. No one cares. And then you go on social media and you're like looking at your likes, looking at your followers, like, oh my gosh, I could grow, blah, blah, blah. But you just have to, like I said, manifest it, put it in your mind, speak it into existence. That's what I believe in 100%. And you can't let fear get the best of you. So if you'd rather try and fail than not try at all, I would say.
100%. Like, the worst thing that you could ever live with is regret, and she obviously capitalized on that, not allowing herself to live with regret. Like, and I think that's so important for any of us to go, like, what has been on our minds? What's an itch that I need to scratch? This show's called Scratch Your Own Itch for a reason. If you haven't scratched your itch yet, you got to go out there and you can't find clarity unless you actually make moves and take action. You can't relieve that itch unless you actually feel better about scratching it. So definitely get out there. Another thing I want to ask you, though, is what is your favorite way to create a relationship with someone, and how do you keep that relationship developing?
Like business relationship?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, so a lot of my friends don't live where I live. I live in North Carolina, and obviously a lot of influencers live in LA, they live in New York, they live in Miami. So I am constantly like, we're always like commenting on each other's images, pictures, videos, whatever. But honestly, what I do, like, I like people to remember me in a little bit more like personal way, because I have a big heart for giving and making people feel good. So for example, one of my influencer friends, we've never physically met, but I keep up with her life. She kind of keeps up with mine, and we have each other's numbers, right? So I text her, I'm like, hey, what's your address? And she's like, she sends it to me, and...
One second.
So I have a big heart of giving, and I have an influencer friend. She lives in Miami. We've never physically met, but I feel like she would be my best friend in real life, like if we knew each other. But we talk all the time, we text, so I knew she was going through a hard time in her life. So I sent her a quick text. I'm like, hey girl, I know you're traveling. What's your address? When will you be home? She tells me when she's going to be home. I sent an edible arrangements, like, package to her house with, like, a note, love you, girl, like, keep smiling, like, you're amazing. And I know that it made her day, because she's like, oh, wow, like, this girl doesn't actually, like, care about me, like, in the social media world, but she cares about me in real life. And I feel like there needs to be more people like that, because when you do social media, you have a lot of people that only care about your following, or they only care if you like their picture or comment on their stuff. So if you actually, like, care about them as an individual, that shows who you are. And I feel like I want not only my followers to see that, but I want kind of everyone to see that in the world too. Like, oh, Summer, like, when they think of me, I want them to be like, oh, she's a good freaking person. She's not just like this social media model that's flawless or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So
that is huge, because, like, I've got a huge smile on my face right now. Because I think it's really hard right now in the world of social media. It's really hard in the world of a digital age that I think a lot of us are a part of. And the reason why I say it's hard is because, like, how do you actually create long-lasting memory inside someone's head? And I think it's through that, gift giving.
Yeah.
And being able to really give amazing, incredible gifts that tender to just that person that you want to create an impact with. And so for you to go, like, above and beyond, if anyone's like, how can I really right now, like, really, like, make an impact? Think about what you would want, Exactly.
Like,
that's huge.
What would make you happy? So I was like, if someone sent me that, I'd be, like, crying. I'd be so happy. But so I was like, that'll make her day.
100%.
So.
Oh my gosh. So I get a couple more questions that are gonna just end us out strong. The second to last question is, actually, we'll do 3 more questions. Third to last question is, where can people find more of you? Because they're probably listening to this and they're like, I want to learn more about her and her incredible brilliance. And if you want to learn more about how to gain a following on Instagram and how to actually, like, do something that you love.
And I'm thinking about making a, like, program on how to grow on social media.
Sweet. So how can we find more of you?
So I'm on Instagram. It's at Summer, SUMMER, Lynn, LYNN, and then Hart, HART.
She's going to send me a link. So sweet, awesome, like, straight up, you can just not have to write that down. You can just press a button on your phone, like, make it super silly easy by pressing on your phone and be directed straight to her page. So sweet. And here's a couple more questions to round us out even stronger. These are exclusively to you and to your life. So the second to last question is, what's kind of one thing to keep yourself going? Because let's face it, you probably get thousands of DMs a day. How do you handle and tackle all those direct messages?
On my messages? It depends. You get a lot of creepy ones, for sure. You get a lot of weird people, like, whatever, like, oh, I think I met you. They just want you to reply, blah, blah, blah.
So this is what you don't do for DMs.
Yeah, you don't send creepy messages, that's for sure. But I kind of sorted out, there's a lot of brands that contact me through the DM, even though I have my email on my page. But I respond to, like, there's a lot of girls that will send me, like, you motivate me, or, like, you made my day, or, like, whatever your post made my day. And that is how I'll respond to people normally, if they, like, actually have something, like, genuinely nice to say, and I could tell that they didn't really want to send that message, but they're like, I feel like I should, maybe she'll respond. That's the kind of people that I normally, like, reply to.
Yeah.
Okay,
so she can kind of get through. It sounds like you cut through the cracks by just looking at what.
It's easy to kind of cut through. Like, you kind of see, like, I don't want to reply to that. Like, you just keep scrolling. I'd say what keeps me going is that I feel like I inspire people in, like, a fitness aspect, because I have type 1 diabetes. So a lot of people that think of diabetes, they think of, like, overweight, or people that are struggling with, like, health and fitness, and I want to be, like, the exact opposite. Like, I keep my diabetes, like, pretty well under control, and I like to use that kind of as, like, a thing to be like, you know, this could be stopping me as well. Like I take shots in my stomach and my arms, like, every single day.
Oh, never mind.
And so, like, I'll start over where I was. So I take, like, shots in my stomachs and my arms every single day. So I feel like those could leave, like, bruises and bumps and stuff, but I'm still in front of the camera in, like, a bikini or, you know, tight-fitting clothing. So that doesn't really stop me, because I feel like I'm, like, it's who I am, you know. People see, like, a bruise or a mark. I don't try to, like, edit it out. Sometimes the photographer will, but, like, I can't help that. But for the most part, I try not to, like, edit that kind of stuff out.
So this is what I'm hearing. People that show up transparent to you, you try to show up transparent to them. If that at all resonates with you, then continue to do that. Tell your story. Tell your message. Because this woman is a genius. And when you hear something genius, you follow your heart. And for me, just to, like, end it out even stronger, what like right now currently is your definition of success?
Oh gosh, just being able to, I feel like, wake up in the morning and know that you're, like, doing something that you love, and that you're not dreading, like, going to work, and that you feel like at a little bit, like, somewhat, like, I feel like there's a lot of people, you know, you get a lot of hate on social media, and that sucks, because people feel like they can say whatever they want in your DMs and your comments and whatever. But what gets me going is the people that are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, like, you inspire me, like, your goals, like, blah, 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 and they just are so touched by your life, and they're like, can you help me be like you? And I try to give the advice when I have the time to, like, respond and reply, because I don't want to just be like, yeah, and then not respond because I don't have time, so I try to reply when I do have the time. But also what gets me going is, like, real life issues that I deal with, like, with my dad's really sick, so he's currently waiting on a liver transplant. And so him being sick, like, kind of really motivates me to be like, I need to live the life that I want to live. Because you never know when your life's going to end, or, like, when you're going to be in a hospital bed forever. So him being in a hospital bed, like, makes me go harder, like, all the time, like, no matter what I do. Like, I'm like, if I'm tired from shooting for, like, 8 hours, I'm like, it could be worse. Like, if I'm, you know, at the gym and I'm like, I really don't want to do this right now, I'm like, you know, there's some people that can't work out because they literally are so sick they can't. So that, I feel like, inspires me, like, a lot more. Like, the everyday, like, stressors, like, I kind of, like, take it out into, like, when I'm a creative, like, when I get to, like, do plan photo shoots and make stuff, like, with, like, I consider, like, photo shoots and stuff like art. So I feel like me getting out my stressors is, like, me creating stuff, or me, like, working out or something like that.
Oh, I love the definition. I love the story. I love the motivation. This is incredible, by the way. To be more transparent, I'm doing this interview with my phone. So if you're someone who's like, I don't have the time to do a podcast, gosh, it's going to take so much longer to do a podcast.
And the equipment, like,
and all the equipment. This is off my phone, and I'm just going to hit publish, because I'm not afraid of making things perfect. And I think that's another thing that we could probably go into for another couple hours, but I'm trying to keep these short and concise and sweet so you can get down to the tactics of what's really working and start scratching your own itch like today. So please, if you heard this, please reach out to myself or
Summer
and reach out to us and just say, hey, I heard this on Scratch Your Own Itch and you said XYZ, and I want to say that I really care. Because when you start doing that and you put it out into the ethos, all of a sudden these things that you imagine and you put into writing actually come true. Mm-hmm. And so thank you so much for taking the time to do this, because honestly, I know you could be listening to any other podcast, but you chose mine, and that means the world to me. And I know Summer's going to be on more podcasts on the road.
Yes.
How did you like your experience with your first
I liked it, yeah. I thought it was fun. I like to talk, so sometimes I feel like I talk too much.
Nope, she never talks too much. She's lying. She could talk all day, and we would listen, I promise. But with that being said, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on another episode. And don't ever forget, you matter and you're enough.
There'll be girls across the nation that'll eat this up. Babe, I know that it's your soul, but could you bottle it up? Get down to the heart of it, no, it's my heart. Your shit out of your luck. Don't make me tell you again. Woo! Love, love, love. Hey. Love, 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 love.
Oh, wow. You made it to the very end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Scratch Your Own Itch with your host, Logan Tyler Nelson. To make it to the end? Gosh, that doesn't happen very much nowadays. I mean, especially with the constant distraction. So, I appreciate all of the efforts that you just took out of your day to make it to the end. And if you hit that subscribe button and leave a review, you would have no idea what that would mean to me. So thank you so much for taking the time to hit that subscribe button. And if you leave a review, check it out. Just screenshot it, send it to me, and I'd love to host your review out on the show. But don't ever forget, like I say, you matter and you're enough.
Love is the main reason for how all this happened. Love for all my fans, love for all the shows. Got love for all my memories, no matter where I go. Even if I'm out to nothing, I know there's always something. It's not a fitness test, but it'll always